Recognize my friend from Missouri, Mr. Onder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the witnesses for being here today. You know, I would like to echo something that Congressman Grothman said earlier. I truly believe that the United States is one of the most fair, most equitable, least racist societies ever to exist on this earth. The progress that we have made, although we are not there perfectly in 250 years, is just overwhelming. I heard earlier from one of the Democrat members of this committee, DEI efforts level the playing field. I would submit that in many times, pernicious discrimination on race, even if you label it some sanitary condition like DEI, it's still pernicious discrimination based on race. Mr. Harper, let me ask you, is it fair to discriminate against Asian students?
No.
Is it fair to admit a student of different ethnicity over an Asian student who is more qualified and has better test scores?
The answer categorically is no, but I will also say, what do you mean by more qualified? Are we talking just test scores?
Better grades, better ACT scores, better SAT scores.
You see, the research makes, again, irrefutably clear that holistic admissions that consider factors inclusive of high school GPA and test scores are important.
So let me ask you, Mr. Harper, have you ever heard of a Supreme Court decision called Students for Fair Admissions v. Harvard?
Of course I have.
And your employer is USC?
Of course it is.
Are you abiding by that decision?
As I mentioned in my opening remarks, I am representing myself. I am not a spokesperson for the University of Southern California.
You draw a paycheck from the University of Southern California.
I am not here as a representative.
I know that. Do you, yes or no, draw a paycheck from the University of Southern California?
Of course I do.
And what is your position at the University of Southern California?
I am a tenured professor in 3 schools there.
Okay. So do you have any administrative position?
I do not.
You do not. Is USC abiding by Students for Fair Admission versus Harvard, or do people who have your opinion about these issues, are they looking for ways to get around the laws enunciated by the Harvard case?
2 things. I've come in here standing on 50 years of research. I've not brought my opinion to this hearing.
Thank you.
And secondly, for maybe the 5th time, I am here representing myself. I'm not here as a spokesperson of USC.
Let me read to you a quote you may have heard of, maybe you haven't. It goes something like this. I have a dream. I have a dream that someday my little children will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Do you agree with that quote?
I absolutely agree with that quote for those who understand what Martin Luther King actually meant by it.
So
Martin Luther King Jr. was staunchly opposed to racism. He was staunchly opposed to poverty. He was staunchly opposed to discrimination.
So when Asian students are discriminated against and not admitted to Harvard, even though by traditional criteria, including grades, test scores, extracurricular activities, isn't that discrimination? The Supreme Court decided it was. You disagree, it seems.
I don't disagree. What I am saying to you, as a person who has worked professionally in college admissions, I understand from my professional standpoint that admissions is not just about standardized test scores.
You said that. So do you believe standardized tests are discriminatory?
Some research.
Do they have any use at all? Because there is abundant research that they correlate very well with student performance, with grades, and with graduation rates. Should standardized tests be discarded?
For the record, it should be noted that that evidence is indeed mixed.
That's mixed. So someone with a perfect ACT score is no more likely to graduate from Harvard or any place, community college, than someone who has a lower SAT standardized test score?
Yeah, no, I think this is a really important question as I attempt once again to help us all understand what the research shows about holistic admissions. It's not just high school grades and test scores that determines who ultimately succeeds at America's colleges and universities.
Pernicious discrimination on the basis of race is pernicious discrimination on the basis of race. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. I'd like now to recognize my friend from California, Mr. Solner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So many thoughts come to mind listening to this. George Santayana, a Harvard professor, his famous quote, for those people who forget, for those